He vanished from a maximum security prison. Without a weapon. Without a riot. Without even opening a door. No one saw him leave. No one ever brought him back. And he did it, twice. This isn't the plot of a thriller. This happened. And his name? Raymond Boulanger, maybe. No fingerprints. No birth records. No real past. Just a pilot's license. And whispers that said he worked for the CIA. He moved billions in cocaine. Slipped through airspace undetected. And even survived being kidnapped by armed rebels. Governments chased him. Cartels trusted him. The law tried to hold him. But no one, not even the system, could stop him. This is not just a story. It's a blueprint for disappearing. Welcome to the criminal dossier. And this is the case of the man who became a ghost. When the police finally caught him, they didn't know who they had. There were no fingerprints in the database. No school transcripts. No family on record. No passport. No origin story. Just a name and a pilot's license. They dug deeper. And that's when the whispers started. This guy might have worked with the CIA. Could it be true? He wasn't a street dealer. He didn't sling grams in alleyways. He was flying product thousands of feet in the air. For some of the most dangerous people on Earth. He crossed borders the way most people cross intersections. Fast, quiet, clean, weapons, money, cocaine, in and out of airfields. No radar, no detection, no evidence. Raymond wasn't reckless. He was precise, professional, and absolutely invisible. Until one day, he wasn't. In 1998, a billion-dollar operation came crashing down, and standing in the middle of it was the ghost. It was supposed to be just another transport, but this time, someone talked. In 1998, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, armed with intel, surveillance, and air support, moved in on what would become the largest drug bust in Canadian history. Over 4,000 kilos of pure cocaine, seized before it could hit the streets. Street value? Almost $1 billion. But the most valuable piece of the bust wasn't the drugs. It was the man flying the plane, Raymond Boulanger. No ID, no criminal record, but all signs pointed to one thing. This guy wasn't just involved. He was the link. From the source to the street. They arrested him, booked him, locked him up. Case closed, right? Wrong. Because they didn't know who they were dealing with. Raymond didn't panic, didn't run, didn't say a word. To him, this wasn't a defeat. It was a pause. They sent him to Donnacona Penitentiary, a place built to contain the worst of the worst. Murderers, cartel leaders, gang enforcers. Raymond walked in alone and walked out with respect. But that came later. At first, he kept quiet, listened, watched. Then came the attack. In the prison gym, a man came up behind him. A baseball bat cracked down on the back of his head. 22 stitches. Blood on the floor. Most men would have stayed down. Not Raymond. He turned, blocked the next swing, broke his attacker's arm, dropped him, and then he said the words that echoed through the prison walls. Take off the mask and fight like a man. Word spread. Fast. This wasn't just some drug mule. This man? He was calm, deadly, and fully capable. He became a legend. Not just for what he had done, but for how he handled prison life. He didn't just survive Donnacona. He owned his time there. In Canada, the law has cracks. And Raymond? He knew exactly where to step. Here's the rule. If it's your first federal sentence, and the crime wasn't violent, you can apply for early release. After serving just 1/6 of your sentence, Raymond was handed 23 years. He was out in less than 5. No hacksaws, no breakout, just paperwork. They moved into a halfway house, one step closer to full freedom. But Raymond wasn't planning to stay. He was watching, waiting. The system thought it had him contained, but it never really did. The halfway house wasn't a second chance. It was a holding pen. Cramped rooms, noise, no privacy. 6 men to a room, one shared toilet, constant fights. You couldn't even leave a toothbrush out, Raymond said. It would disappear. He asked for a transfer. They refused. So he waited. He studied routines, timed exits, marked weak spots. Then one day, he got approved for a weekend release. He left and didn't come back. No alarms, no news coverage, no confrontation, just quiet. And just like that, Escape number 1. He showed up in Colombia, under a new name, in a new town, living a life no one could trace. He found peace, and someone who gave him a reason to stay. She was a real estate agent. Smart, warm, grounded. We had a house, pets, chickens, she said. He told me he worked in aviation, and technically, he still did. They lived on a small farm, cooked, walked the land, fed animals. For a while, it was quiet. But Raymond? He knew peace never lasted. It happened during a flight near rebel territory, the kind of place you're warned not to land. But the plane had engine trouble. They had to touch down. On the drive back, a truck blocked the road. Gunmen stepped out, fired into the dirt, dragged Raymond out of the car. They blindfolded him, beat him, took him deep into the jungle. He'd been kidnapped by FARC, Colombia's most feared rebel group. They demanded $5 million. If you were American, one of them said, we wouldn't even negotiate. Raymond's partner? She didn't blink. She bargained, argued, found connections, and got the ransom dropped. From $5 million to $30,000. She delivered it herself. When she found him, he was thin, shaken, but alive. Another escape. This time from death itself. He should have been free. He had survived the jungle, survived captivity, survived rebels with rifles. But when he got home from the ransom drop, there were no celebrations. Instead, Colombian authorities were waiting. No warrant, no official charges, just guns and orders. They grabbed him, didn't explain a thing, took him, not to a station, but to a military base. No lawyer, no phone call, nothing. You can't arrest me, Raymond said. I'm not even on Canadian soil. But this wasn't about rules. It was about control. Days later, he was quietly flown back to Canada. Just like that. He was back in the system. But Raymond didn't panic, because he was already thinking about his next move. They tried again, moved him through the system, Cowansville, St. Andre, Phillipsburg. But Raymond never pushed back. He played by the rules, stayed invisible. Eventually, they put him on a work crew, installing electrical wiring, wearing safety boots, carrying cables. He watched the clock, watched the exits, watched the guards. Then one afternoon, during lunch break, a car pulled up. Raymond walked across the lot, opened the back door, got in, and vanished. No chase, no alert, no news flash, just gone. Escape number 2. Some say he's in Panama. Others say he's back in Colombia under a new name. Or maybe he's changed his face altogether. Interpol has his name on a list. Canada has an open warrant. But nobody has his location. Not a phone call, not a photo, not a single trace. It's like he disappeared into the air. Just like he used to. Because Raymond Boulanger? He was never built to be found. So who was he? A smuggler? A pilot? A ghost? He flew for the cartels. He may have worked with the CIA. He outsmarted prisons twice, outran intelligence agencies, and escaped death more than once. He didn't shout, didn't brag, didn't leave a trail. You don't want to give me parole? He said. Fine. I'll pull myself. Raymond Boulanger broke the rules, bent the system, and disappeared into legend. This is the criminal dossier. The story of Raymond Boulanger doesn't just end with an escape. It ends with a system outsmarted and a man who may never be found. Subscribe to the Criminal Dossier for more real stories. Dark, disturbing, and unforgettable.